in how to die is meant especially for the human being. Education in how to die is meant especially for the human being. An animal dies and a human being also dies, but a human being is supposed to understand the process of going back to the spiritual world at the time of death. Remaining always fixed and undisturbed in Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada expertly taught the process. His passing away, therefore, was a perfect lesson and one that can be faithfully followed. Prabhupada taught us both the art of living and the art of leaving this world. The art of living and the art of dying, the art of passing away. Srila Prabhupada ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki. So we continue our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 2, Text 43. Yatha nalo darushu bhinnayate Yatha nil Yatha nilo dehe gata pritak stita Yatha nabha sarvagatam na sajjate Tatha puman sarvagunashraya para Yatha nalo darushu bhinnayate Yatha nilo deha gata pritak stita Yatha nabha sarvagatam na sajjate Tatha puman sarvagunashraya para. Please chant. Yatha nabha sarvagatam na sajjate Tatha puman sarvagunashraya para. Vaishnavis. Yatha nalo darushu bhinnayate Yatha nilo deha gata pritak stita Yatha nabha sarvagatam na sajjate Tatha puman sarvagunashraya param. Yatha, just as Anala the fire, Darushu in wood, Bhinna separate, Iyate perceived, Yatha just as, Anila the air, Deha Dehagata within the body, Prithak separate, Sthita situated, Yatha just as, Nava the sky, Sarvagatam all pervading, Na not, Sajjate mix, Tatha similarly, Puman the living entity, Sarvagunashraya although now the shelter of the modes of material nature, para transcendental to material contamination. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Swami Prabhupada ki. As fire, although situated in wood, is perceived to be different from the wood. As air, although situated within the mouth and nostrils, is perceived to be separate. And as the sky, although all pervading, never mixes with anything, so the living entity, although now encaged within the material body, of which it is the source, is separate from it. Perfect. In Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has explained that the material energy and spiritual energy both emanate from Him. The material energy is described as Me Bhinna Prakriti Ashtada, the eight separated energies of the Lord. But although the eight gross and subtle material energies, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, are stated to be bhinna, separate from the Lord, actually they are not. As fire appears separate from wood, and as the air flowing through the nostrils and mouth of the body appears separate from the body, so the Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears separate from the living being, but is actually separate and not separate simultaneously. This is the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva propounded by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. According to the reactions of karma, the living being appears separate from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but actually is very intimately related with the Lord. Consequently, even though we now seem neglected by the Lord, He is actually always alert to our activities. Under all circumstances, therefore, we should simply depend on the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus revive our intimate relationship with Him. We must depend upon the authority and control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेक पुरुष पुराना श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीर धारी कृपाम्बुदीर्य तमहं प्रपद्ये मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणम् वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Warm welcome. And so we study Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Prem Bhakti Prasud, the origin or the giver, the provider of all Prema Bhakti. Prema Bhakti Udgar Updesh, this expression of pure love and instructions for the ultimate benefit of mankind, for the ultimate benefit of humans. And pray that by your blessings, I become the first listener of the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. We pray that by your blessings one day I imbibe the teachings, the message of Mahaprabhu, attain some humility in practicing Krishna consciousness. So, as the translation says, as fire, although situated in wood, is perceived to be different from the wood. As air, although situated within the mouth and nostrils, is perceived to be separate. And as the sky, although pervading, never mixes with anything. So, the spirit soul in pure consciousness is completely pure. It is completely antimatter, completely pure, and it has never mixed and it can never mix with matter. Like we see in Bhagavad Gita and same message no, in Srimad Bhagavatam, things like in here, no, fire, although situated in wood, is perceived to be different from the wood. So, what do they say? Some things do not mix together. Bhagavad Gita, we see now what? Oil and water. Oil and water do not mix together, right? Then what else? Just a thought coming to my mind now. I don't know why though. A bit random. What? Say suppose color, dry color, huh? Dry color and water. They shouldn't be mixed like someone like maybe having festival of colors and should be separate from water. Just dry colors, no water colors. So some things in life do not mix. Oil and water do not mix, and we see, although it is perceived. Now if we see Prabhupada's translations and purports, so beautiful, and the entire message, the poetry, the way things are written and all, and so complete, pure, perfect, and beyond. So what? Although it is perceived to be different from the wood, although situated in wood, is perceived to be different from the wood. Now, this perceived is something, a matter of realization. Perceived is not by blunt senses, and this perceived is not based on theoretical understanding or even in any intellectual understanding. It is a sheer matter of realization, and realizations will come about when we pray for mercy throughout. Now, this praying for mercy is not like a one time job or one time thing and done. We throughout uh, be it in condition stage or perfect stage, we throughout want to be wrapped over by the mercy of Mahaprabhu. So the spirit soul being completely pure this has not never come in contact with matter and doesn't come in contact with matter. But very fascinating and it can raise some questions, right? Like now again, maybe an example. Don't know why, a bit random. Now, someone could be peeling apples, say, or someone could be chopping potatoes, say. A question can be raised, right? Who is chopping the potato? Who is peeling the apple? Is it the body peeling the apple, the potato, or is it the soul? Is it the mind? Is it the intelligence? Who is peeling it? It is the entire practice of Krishna consciousness is a practice of what? Elevation of consciousness. Prabhupada wrote a book, no small book, Elevation to Krishna consciousness. The soul is perfectly pure. It's just the consciousness which is a bit degraded, which is polluted, which is perverted. And the consciousness needs lifting. The consciousness is misidentifying with this body. The consciousness is heavily conditioned, misidentifying with matter. And in that material consciousness, then we act. Hmm? And then we have so much fabrication, mind, intelligence, ego, all these different blocks and all. But the soul proper is pure, completely pure. It is just the consciousness which is misaligned. And by the practice of Krishna consciousness, this Navda Bhakti process, no? Beginning with hearing, listening, chanting, remembering, and further on. So, by this practice of Navda Bhakti, the consciousness becomes purified. The consciousness will become purified. So much so that everything, the mind, body, intelligence becomes completely, has to become completely spiritually surcharged. Then there is no, like Krishna, na, there is no difference between him, the body, the person. uh, Krishna's speech, completely absolute platform. Na? Then us as well, as being part and parcel of Krishna. We are also in our consciousness, in our originality, in our constitution, completely pure. It's just because of misidentification. Heavily misidentify with matter, then all the materialistic, egoistic identity comes about, material intelligence, mind, everything comes about. And through the practice of Krishna consciousness, we need to learn this science. How can we detach ourselves? Now, in the practice of Krishna consciousness, we encounter many stages, many phases, right? And there comes moments in our life wherein what we could be doubting ourselves, that oh, this is too high, this is not for me, I cannot become a devotee, or this is not working. So many things we could be questioning ourselves, and what we end up saying, right? On a daily basis, kind of, we say, "What, I'm so fallen, I'm so fallen, I'm so fallen, so conditioned and so fallen." Now, um, especially when we see Mahaprabhu's teachings, na, Mahaprabhu's teachings, Chaitanya Chaitamrit, Mahaprabhu's overall teachings and the message, and what Mahaprabhu has come to give us. Gopi Bharto Pada Kamalyor Das Das Anudas. This is our real identity, and we have to protect this identity. We have to come to this identity. Like Bhagavad Gita, the first science as such, the first science Krishna tells to Arjuna is what? You are not this body. You are not this body, you are a spirit soul. That is very much required for Arjuna to motivate him to fight. And now, us practicing Krishna consciousness, okay, we understand that we are not this body. But then, which body are we if not this body? We are not ghosts, right? We are not ghosts, no. We have a spiritual body, a spiritual form, pure, transcendental, sublime, beautiful, uh, being Krishna's part and parcel. We also have a beautiful form, and in that, the whole meditation should be on meditating on our Swarup, and within the Swarup, our Roop. Swarup is understood, yes, Mahaprabhu says, na, Jivere Swarup hai Krishna Nitya Das. That we all are eternal servants of Krishna. Now, eternal servants of Krishna, now inquiry has to be made into the eternal form of the sadhaka, eternal form of the practitioner. We have been serving Krishna since eternity, every one of us, directly or indirectly, knowingly or unknowingly, but we all have been serving in whatever body, even in bacteria body. eh. But now, coming across Mahaprabhu's teachings and all, we meditate, we prepare our consciousness, wherein we want to serve Krishna directly, eternally, for eternity. And for serving Krishna directly for eternity, uh, there has to be inquiry into one's spiritual form as well, one's spiritual group as well. And then the service will change and everything. And this is what Rupa Goswami also helps us understand, right? Iya yasya harir dasya karmana manasa gira nikhilashu जीवन मुक्त स उच्यते. Uh, so, by through or engaging all our faculties, everything in, we have to karmana manasa gira, through our actions, mind, body, intelligence, every faculty. We have to come to this realization: we are Krishna's eternal servitor, and accordingly we act. Uh, and Jivan Mukta sa uchyate. While living in this body, we have to attain that glimpse. Yeah, if not in wholesome, we have to attain that glimpse of ultimate transcendence, some divinity, and protect that vision, protect that glimpse, and further expand it in our practice of Krishna consciousness. Jivan mukta se uchyate. Who can live life? One who is free from fear. Free from the fear of losing out, free from the fear of dying, free from the fear of missing out. Only he can relish. One who is free. One who is free from material attachments. Uh, just like in sports, many times this coaches and all inspire their players, right? That do not worry about the results and all. Just freely play, just perform and all. Don't have to worry about any other things. Likewise, when we are free, then we can experience a real sublimity in the practice of Krishna consciousness. And this freedom comes about, as we see in the purport, by taking shelter of Krishna. Under, as purport says, no, under all circumstances, therefore, we should simply depend on the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the best way to take shelter of Krishna is we understand by taking shelter of the pure devotee of Krishna. For a sadhaka, the ultimate shelter of a sadhaka is no one else than his spiritual master. Taking ultimate firm shelter. And in Krishna consciousness, we understand we cannot afford to take many shelters. We cannot afford this shelter or that shelter. The entire source of mercy is channelizing from one source only. Mercy of Vrinda Devi, mercy of Nityanand Prabhu, mercy of Acharyas and all, via the mercy of spiritual master. So if we can um, take the shelter, come under the lotus feet, divine lotus feet of spiritual master, then we can experience this sublimity in the practice of Krishna consciousness. So again, there are these this thought, right? Oh, I'm fallen, I'm so fallen. But actually, we see the soul proper is not at all fallen. The soul proper is not at all conditioned. How can the pure soul, pure spirit be conditioned or fallen? And this we see in third canto, very beautiful, in the dialogue between Maitre Muni and Vidura. Same this question is raised, and the thinking of this fallen is all because of one's ignorance. Otherwise, the pure soul is completely pure. Just because of avidya, he associates with matter and considers himself to be fallen. So, one thing is to consider myself to be fallen, and another is to acknowledge I am fallen. When I consider myself to be fallen, then I am living in bodily identity only. Yes. But when I acknowledge, then I can separate. Well, I am transcendental, I am divine. But yes, my consciousness is a bit polluted, a bit loitering in the material realm. But in pureness, I am completely pure. Narad Muni had this revelation, right? When he met the transcendentalist, then his realization gradually uplifted, and he came to the point wherein he himself says that the Lord and I are transcendental. Huh? First, he developed ruchi in prasadam. Then, that taking prasadam, he developed ruchi in listening from the transcendentalist, Krishna Katha. And listening that Krishna Katha, he developed further ruchi. What? That the Lord and I are transcendental. So we are not this body. This we understand. Okay, now we can inquire. If not this body, then which body? Uh, and develop an attraction, affinity towards seva and towards the roop as well. So on this note, maybe I will take a pause if there are any questions, comments, clarifications, or yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh, when we ask once, na, and we get some mercy. Rupa Goswami teaches us what the entire practice actually this. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati kriyatam yadyapi kuto na labhyate. So we have to learn to become greedy, complete greedy in Krishna consciousness. When we start chanting the holy name or practicing Krishna consciousness, it could be, again, someone could be, I don't know why, but someone could be peeling papaya. Someone could be just doing. But when one gets that interest, oh wow, this I'm not doing for some family function. This I'm not doing for, like, say, home or some other thing. I'm doing this for Krishna and Krishna's devotees. So once one gets that mercy, he would want to pray, okay, every festival I get to peel maybe papaya and next apple as well, and then potato as well. We cannot restrict. We cannot restrict ourselves. We can never, because soul by nature is active. Soul by nature is hankering for that loving relationship with Krishna. It's not like soul is living in a limbo state, or that, okay, the Krishna consciousness teachings never say what rest in peace. Huh? Like someone passes away and what rest in peace. What peace do we want, and where is that resting in peace unless one has taken shelter of Krishna? So soul wants that activity, that active relationship with Krishna. That active engagement, that active loving sentiment and attachments and bond with Krishna. So once we come across that, we can never get saturated. We would want more and more, more and more. So be careful. Yes, bro. Yes, yes. There's a gulf of difference, even higher difference than the difference between earth and sky, say. Or the difference from top end to the bottom end of this material universe, this creation. So, if I'm trying to just help myself understand, one is to acknowledge that yes, I am fallen. And another is to uh, completely consider that yes, I am fallen. As Prabhupada Prana Prabhu was giving class, and he was saying, right, that sometimes devotees say that, oh Krishna, I'm so fallen, I have no hope, I am no hope and all. So what do you mean? That you are so fallen that even Krishna cannot uplift you? So, meaning to say, is it that your falling state is even more powerful than the mercy of Krishna? Right? So, point being again that to acknowledge that I am fallen, yes, simultaneously, like Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, na? So, acknowledging, yes, Krishna, I am not in that pure consciousness. Huh? I'm very drifted, very drifted. But simultaneously, we cannot deny that we are pure spirit in our nature. But when we claim that I am so fallen, then I'm taking myself to my material conditioning only. I'm taking myself to my bodily identity only. I'm not there yet, but that doesn't mean that I'm not pure. No one can take this credit, this fact from the soul, even Krishna, that you are not that pure. Just it's a thing in the mind, or a illusion or a concept which we are dragging on, materially conditioning ourselves. Uh, but when we again you check 1527, such beautiful Narad Muni's realization and the way his realization progresses. Uh, he says that the Lord and I are transcendental. And Narad Muni, he hasn't had darshan of Krishna by then in his previous life. Huh? He hasn't had attained pure devotional service. But what has he realized? That the Lord and I are transcendental. So it is this acknowledging, at least we should acknowledge that much, na? That yes, I am a pure spirit soul. Huh? I'm a pure devotee of Krishna. Of course, we need to protect our humility. We need to then, but if we do not come to this vision, if we do not come to this prayojan of Krishna Prem, how will we attain it? How will we? If we don't make it our real thing. So, acknowledge. Acknowledging is what we should do, but we should not consider that, yes, no, I'm hopeless or completely fallen. Then what happens? We go into a state of pity, self pity, self pity, and complete ignorance and depression. We find many times devotees tell others, why are you doing so self pity on yourself, or this unnecessary depression or unnecessary Shishikorantai Mayapur Sashi ki jai. Arjuna was also going through that self pity or complete state of depression and ignorance. And Krishna lifted him up. Hmm. Gradually, though. But Mahaprabhu's teachings, we have to come to this understanding that yes, deep down, I'm beautiful. I'm completely beautiful. Mahaprabhu actually has come to give us nothing but Manjari Bhav Upasana. So we need to tap into our beauty if we want to not be distracted by the flickering beauty of this material world. If we really want to not get distracted by the flickering beauty of this material world in any form and shape, then we need to understand our internal beauty altogether. And then we will never claim as such that, yes, I am fallen. No, Krishna wouldn't like hearing that. We are loitering, that is another thing, but we are not. So, just a small example. Sometimes children na, they misbehave a bit. Parents need disciplining them. Parents have disciplined them, but children can also go into a state of pity, depression. No, I'm so bad. Uh, I'm even bad than that. I'm even bad. Mother says, okay, no, I understand how bad you are. You don't need to shout so much. You don't need to exaggerate. Now this is you are completely going into a hole. You are creating a vacuum for yourself. I don't even exist. Ah, better be void and all of this. So why go in again a heavy sense of self obsession, heavy sense of self obsession leading to nothing but pure ignorance or out of pure ignorance. We just leave it there. Yes, we are fallen, and next what? Rise up and attain your true potential. Does that somewhat answer your question? All the gates illuminate. Chapter 10, text around 13, 14, something like that. Chapter 5, sorry. But yeah, please. I'll give you one shloka. Uh, 10, 14, 26. I pray that you have a sleepless night with this shloka. I honestly pray that you have a sleepless nights with this shloka. And this should shake you up altogether. 10, 14, 26. Yeah. So yeah, be careful. Okay, 10, 14, 26. Yeah, so that Panchatattva Prabhu, that enlightenment or knowledge and relishing that knowledge, of course, happiness can be realized only in mode of goodness, not in mode of ignorance or passion. Huh? And that sort of happiness Krishna mentioning is like coming to a mode of goodness happiness, huh? Wherein many Mayavadis, impersonalists, Jainis, Buddhists, and all this, aham brahmasmi, like that. So that okay, attain Brahm. Mahaprabhu says what? Aham dasosmi, das dasanu das, which is completely higher, transcendental, beyond. So that sort of thing is what we need to aim. Uh, and this says, na, beautiful. This is Lord Brahma's Udgar expression of his realization and love. What is he saying? That the conception of material bondage and uh, this the conception of bondage and liberation. Bondage we bondage we understand is out of ignorance. Liberation, like both are out of ignorance only. So just Mangalananda Prabhu's song, right? You like that song also. So what is that song? Hmm? Krishna says, come as you are. Come as you are. We are not pure. We can never be pure enough to be attained by Krishna. Do we think that we can be pure enough? It is just by acknowledging that I am not pure enough, Mahaprabhu is pleased. Adokshaya Prabhu sings not tremendously. Din Dayal Prabhu, Din Dayal, Keshava Madhava, Din Dayal. Just all we need to acknowledge is that Dinta, that I am Deen. I am a beggar. Just by that. So does that not not the any rocket science or heavy things, just a bit of simplicity, a bit of honesty in the practicing of Krishna consciousness. Hmm. If we are a bit sincere, a bit simple, a bit honest, Krishna says to Arjuna, Tasyam Sulabha Partha, that I am easily attained. Why would Krishna make himself so tricky and difficult? Although we know he is three banded, but his heart is simple. His body shape may not be so proper, but his heart is. Why would Krishna make it any? Has he got any grudge, any uh, thing agenda to get out of us? Just we need to become a bit simple. We are not pure. We can never be pure enough. If we can just acknowledge that Krishna is happy to have us as he is. Like again, I don't know, some thoughts coming. Suppose suppose a temple could be organizing a festival of colors, say, okay, just for example. And now suppose Panchatattva is at the entry and registration there. And now someone has come all the way there. But what, he forgot to get his ticket or something. Now a kind soul Panchatattva, will he send him back? No. He's just acknowledging that I know all this, the festival of colors and all, but I don't have the PDF, I don't have the ticket, online ticket to show you. Can you let me in? Okay. So it's just like Krishna is pleased by acknowledgement. We can never act any great. We can never do anything great. What great can we do? Just that if simplicity we can bring about. Hare Krishna. Prabhu. So is this the question that the verse, even if in realization we may not be there, but somewhere we need to make a start, right? Somewhere we need to build it up. So this is Lord Brahma's expression. This is his meditation. This is his meditation, and he has realized this, and he's saying, he's experiencing this, and he's saying this, and he's giving us the remnants to chew, to meditate, to contemplate, and to get blessings. Now, how do we get the blessings of Lord Brahma? By getting the blessing of spiritual master. How do we get the blessing of Lord Shiva or Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj? Uh, all the blessings we can have once we attain the blessing of spiritual master. Then all the Sarva Deva Mayo Guru. We see in 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. uh, that is the storehouse or the powerhouse of all mercy, spiritual master. And this is Lord Brahma's realization. Now, someone who is building and all in stages or something, and this is like to free oneself from any form of self obsession and become completely absorbed in Krishna. And we can attain absorption in Krishna by keeping our focus, by understanding our identity as well. And yes, like a pure devotee, uh, we, By the blessings of spiritual master, he realizes his swarup, what is his roop and what is his swarup, and then internally meditates and goes into that internal meditation towards eternal seva, eternal service in the eternal kingdom. Then just the body is there, it's just waiting. Everything is there. Everything is there. Just we need to put ourselves in that consciousness. That devotee who offered mentally, right? Bhoga prasadam to Krishna, the kheer. Now everything he made mentally only. Huh? And when he touched, oh, hand got burned altogether. So everything is there. We just need to put ourselves in that consciousness. When we put ourselves in that consciousness, we can experience that sublimity. And this comes through the blessing of a pure devotee of Krishna. Does this somewhat answer your question, Prabhu? Yeah, if we see in isolation, then it need not seem like, okay, it is taking us to pure loving devotional service. If we see this in isolation, but then entire chapter 14, Lord Brahma's prayers, is so fascinating, and all building up towards attaining that mercy of Krishna. Lord Brahma himself says na, that someone may think that he knows Krishna, but I cannot claim this. I can never claim this. Someone may claim, someone may think. And only Krishna can be known to someone, only to him whom he wants to be revealed. Only to whom he wants to be revealed. And to say more, Krishna is quite lost with the Brajvasis. He's quite busy or occupied with the Brajvasis. Huh? But then the Kripa Murti of Krishna, the most accessible actually manifestation of Krishna is Sri Guru. And via Sri Guru, then one can also attain divinity, one can experience divinity, the transcendental nature. Does this once one develops that attachment or that state, I don't think so. One will have that time and space to even think that I was not this or I have come out of here. Oh, thank God. Once I was in Liverpool or here, there, what not doing this, that, and all. I'm not doing any. No, there won't be. One won't have that much of time and space to think on those lines. Okay. Thank you very much for your kind attention. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम महापुराण की शिला प्रभुपाद की फेस्टिवल ऑफ कलर्स की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी